Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of In the Crease. Hope you had a very pleasant Thanksgiving holiday. I'm sure most of you are still eating leftovers, but hey, that's okay. That's what that holiday is all about. Welcome to the only place in the Burgh where you can find hockey news that is on the bleeding edge. Absolutely no spin from Gary Bettman and his NHL board of directors, nor from Tommy McMillan and his Penguin PR machine either. This is the place to go for true hockey and for true hockey fans. Yes, people who like hockey and aren't afraid to say what's going on with the sport. Speaking of what's going on, we have new inductees.
Oh, absolutely.
Into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and there are some people on there that you're not real happy with.
There's two.
Go ahead.
Well, the first one, I really think longevity did him right. Chris Chelios. You know, I mean, I could take him or leave him in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Probably leave him. Think he was a dirty hockey player.
He was.
Played for Chicago, Montreal, Detroit. You know, played a long career. Hard-working guy, though, must say. Very good
aren't
restaurant.
there rumors that he wants to come out of retirement, go over to Europe, and play with his sons?
Yeah.
And he's what, 106 years old or something?
Yeah, he's older than you.
Yeah, there you go.
But, you know, those Italian guys, they can't get out of hockey. Hockey in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, that's true. It's in our blood.
I would say the second guy that I really can't understand when you hear his name, it doesn't roll Hockey Hall of Fame off your tongue, Brendan Shanahan.
Ooh. I did not expect you to say that.
Brendan Shanahan.
I did not expect you to say that.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, back that up, because there's going to be a lot of people disagree with you on that.
First of all, he's the guy that's destroying the game, so he should have nothing to do with the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Good point.
Okay? He's taken the guys in the past history of the sport, the demon, the spirit of the game, and just messing it all up. To the tech of the line, this penalty is section 148. You know, just shut up and say it was a cheap shot. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You know, he was a good power forward. Maybe top 20 power forward. I could think of a lot of guys better as a power forward than him.
Sure.
Mark Messier, Brian Trottier.
Yeah.
A lot more hardware than him. You know, he's one of those guys, let me get on a team so I can win a Stanley Cup instead of taking the team that he was on to win a Stanley Cup. Big difference. When I see people's names and I read them, what rolls off your tongue is, okay, Ken Dryden. First thing comes to your mind, Hockey Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
Hockey Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Brendan Shanahan.
No.
Chris Chelios.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Longevity, Gordie Howe. Longevity.
Yeah.
Guy dominated. You know, Chelios at the end of his career.
Bobby Hall.
Bobby Hall.
Yeah. Longevity.
Longevity. But still produced.
Yeah.
The Rocket.
Yeah.
End of his career, people wrote him off.
Yeah.
Won another couple cups at the end of his career. So, Shanny Chelios is very disappointed. People that I wasn't disappointed in, Niedermayer. Phenomenal. Won at every level. Could skate like the wind, but he could also play the game any way he wanted. He was tough. Probably the best thing that ever happened to that guy was when, first of all, he won a cup against his brother. Then the next year, him and his brother won a cup together. Now, getting into the Hockey Hall of Fame, you know, having that special bond with a family member that went through the good and bad times together. Because every other year they played together on the same team.
Yeah.
So for him to win at every level, because he won at every level he ever played. That guy had the C on his shirt. He was a leader. He could score. He could stick handle. He could play forward if he wanted to. He could skate like no one's business. He was a big, strong guy. Niedermayer, very underrated. Compare him to like a Larry Murphy, Ron Francis, guys that just produced in big games but never got the credit they deserved. Wasn't a 100-point guy. Wasn't a 50-goal scorer. But when the game was on the line, he's the guy you wanted on your blue line.
Sure.
Very much deserving. Another person deserving is the female from Team Canada, Haley. Incredible what she did for the women's sport, especially in Canada. I would say she's probably top 3 in her sport as hockey players. I think the best female hockey players, Haley Wickenheiser, Doug's little sister,
Right.
and maybe Tammy Granata, another great hockey player, sister of Tony Granata, who coached in Pittsburgh and some other places. But what she did for the sport, just dominating as a forward for Team Canada. And I mean, okay, the female sport, it's a 2-race horse, Team USA and Team Canada, but she dominated.
And it's not part of the NHL, so why are you in the NHL Hall of Fame, right?
Because it's the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It's not the NHL Hall of Fame.
It's important to point that out.
It's the Hockey Hall of Fame.
It's important to point that out.
Just like Vladimir Tretiak.
Right.
Never played a game in the NHL, but he's
in there.
Hockey Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
And the last, I always save the last for best, Fred Shero. What an incredible coach.
Now, this has nothing to do with him being associated with Philadelphia, right?
Just a game changer. What he did in the middle 70s changed the style of coaching. I think that coaches now use everyone's system. Shero in 1974-75 season, after the season was over and they won their first cup, went over to Russia to see how the Russians, Red Army team and Moscow Dynamo team and the CCCP team, the elite players in Europe, seeing how they trained, how they were coached, how they worked out. There was no other coach in that era did anything like that until 1980.
Yeah.
And where did he get this from? Talking about Herb Brooks. Where did Herb Brooks get this knowledge from? From Fred Shero. Because he saw what the Russians were doing in the Canada Cup and the Olympics and how much they dominated the play. And they beat Boston. They beat Montreal.
Yeah.
But who did they not beat in that rendezvous series from the NHL? What was the one team that left the ice against your Philadelphia Flyers? It was the Russian Red Army team, their national team. They walked off the ice because Shero, after he watched how they play, he took it, grain of salt, and said, I can destroy this team. I know how to beat the best team in the world. If he could beat the best team in the world, how do you think the Flyers got 2 cups? How do you think USA won the gold medal? Because guys like Herb Brooks and Shero took the knowledge of the world in the hockey and brought it to the forefront. And now you see left wing lock,
Yeah.
the flow play, some of the breakouts you have, some of the power play. That was all taken not from Canada.
Yeah.
That was taken from Europe. So that's why I think Fred Shero was a genius before he was a genius. Some of the sayings he put on the blackboard, no player understood. He was like mysterious in that locker room. His own son just said a few bites at the the ceremony, because Ray, who's the GM for the Penguins, grew up in the Flyer locker room, and he's an incredible GM to beyond belief. I think he's doing what his dad expected out of him, but it's just amazing how much credit Fred Shero did not get for coaching in the sport.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying it because he was a Flyer coach. He was an innovator. Some of the things that he did in practice, they would have put him in a rubber room and put a straitjacket on this gentleman. And the same tactic that he used, same tactic that Herb Brooks used. Later in life, Scotty Bowman adapted to some of these systems. Craig Patrick adapted some of these systems. And these are all great coaches. And they're still going on. Mike Keenan, Ken Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So is it normal to be a coach out of your elements? Or is it take everything that you can sponge up and use to your advantage? And that's what Shero did. And that's why I think it was a long time coming for Fred Shero not to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Well, we said no one else will say this, I'm sure. So I guess it leaves it to us to come out and say it. Do you think that Shanny's election to the Hockey Hall of Fame, was compensation for his administrative position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hate to say it. I mean, he did have a good career. Not as elite as you might think he was.
So this was a tip of the hat saying, job well done, thank you.
I think it was a gesture.
We'll put you in
behalf.
put you in the hall.
I like I said, I could see Chelios going in.
Do you think some of the other players see it as that too?
No, because it's a good old boy network. You're never going to stab a player in the back.
I see.
You know, it's like that whole Miami Dolphin thing going on with in that locker room.
But
what goes in the locker room stays in the locker room. You might call me every bad name in the book. You might call me Don Pollock, whatever you want to call me.
Right.
But when push comes to shove, I got your back and you got my back, and it doesn't leave behind the closed doors. And no player will ever have the guts to come out and admit that's why he got inducted.
Yeah.
But
you're thinking that's it. That's why.
I absolutely do. I mean, he did put up good numbers.
Yeah.
He was an enforcer player in the league.
Yeah.
He did change the position to an extent. But, sorry, I mean, to me, he's no better than Kurt Mahler, who was selected second to Mario Lemieux in the draft that year that Mario came out number 1 overall.
Right.
He's no better than a Mike Modano, who might be one of the best USA-born players that ever play in the league. He's Canadian.
Yeah.
You know, and on my pecking order, he's pretty low on that pecking order.
Gotcha.
You know, he was selected for Team Canada as a checking winger. He wasn't a 1 or 2 line guy.
Right.
And to me, to be a Hockey Hall of Famer, you got to be an elite person, because not everyone deserves that award in any sport. I think it's just given out too much. It's not what you do for the game. It's how you do it when you're in the game. You know, it's not what you do after your career. Yeah. Now, if they could have put him in later on in life as a Dole Hall of Famer, what he did for the game as his being the judge of the league and playing, I could see it being Dole. I could see him being it. But just for a player, I'm not buying it. Sorry.
They're just keeping him placated.
Correct. Okay. And, you know, for how late Chelios started in his career, because he didn't start playing hockey till a later age in life.
Sure.
That's why he probably played a later age in life, messing up on good time. But his work ethic was incredible. Whether I have an axe to grind with Chris Chelios because I didn't like the way he played, but I could at least see his effort is Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that. And speaking of putting forth great efforts and changing the way the game is, we got a lot of response from Bob's first segment, taking a look at goalie pads, the equipment, the measurements, the rules, the regulations. And as always, if you see that segment and you really want Bob to answer some of the questions, or it spurs a question, you can certainly get in touch with us on the Facebook page. We'll be more than happy. Bob can answer you from there. I can answer you from there.
And I would definitely, if you want to do it, I'd rather do it on the show.
By all means, do that. I just think that the segment went over really well. So before we get too far into things and are unable to do it, let's give you part 2 of Bob's look at the goalie equipment and what they wear.
Hi there, this is Bob Nelson. I'm in the crease. And today I'd like to talk about some of the technology in the goalie equipment, some of the sizing and regulation changes. Going further, you're going to your glove and blocker. Obviously, this is your blocker, and that's how you'd hold it with your goalie stick. I always tell young goalies, you make a gun, bang, bang. You put your index finger on the paddle, your thumb on the back of the paddle, and that's the way you should hold your goalie stick. Too many goalies hold this stick wrong. It's because they don't hold their blocker proper. The goalie paddle should be 4 inches off your leg pad. The blade should be 4 to 7 inches out in front of your body on a slant. It should slant up. It shouldn't be straight. It should slant up so everything angles up into your chest protector. If not, you're holding your stick wrong, guys. The blocker is designed, it's probably the most simplified piece in the world. All it is a board in front and a glove on the back. Very simple. It has one Velcro strap to keep it locked onto your hand. The goalie blocker should be the same width as your arm pads, same width as the cuff on your catching glove. And again, it's got to be 8 inches. In my days of playing, it used to be 12 inches. Now, if you're measuring my stuff, I'm going to go to my grave telling you my blocker's 8 inches, but you ain't measuring it. The blocker is probably the most simplified thing that a goalie wears design-wise. And it's also anyone's blocker can fit for you. If they tell you, oh, I don't like this blocker, it's a blocker. A blocker is a blocker. The two biggest things that make a blocker unique is you have the bend and where the glove is positioned in. Now, all the gloves that I buy my kids that play goal and me, the blocking palm has to be in the middle of the board. Some blockers, they put it on this inseam here. What happens if it's too close to the one corner or the other corner, if a puck hits, the blocker is going to take your puck into your net. If it's too far on the outside, again, what's going to happen? So if that blocker's on my hand and the way I wear it, and my son wears it a lot looser than I would wear it, see, my blocker doesn't move. Okay? Too many guys also, when they're using their blocker, they punch at it. No, you don't punch at it. When the puck comes in, it hits, and you turn your wrist. As soon as it hits, you turn your wrist. Old school guys, this is my catching glove, puck hits, boom, I'm trapping it. You don't see that anymore because you guys aren't coordinated enough because you play on your knees instead of on these things. So, when you're making a blocker save, again, you look it into your blocker, and then you tilt your wrist out, and that's going to go off the glass or into the boards in no harm way. The other thing that make the blockers very unique now, all this padding on your fingers. So if you do misplay a puck, you're swinging your hand up real quick or it gets deflected, your fingers are now protected. And somewhat, they used to be protected here. I don't like that because you can't handle the stick. There's too much foam in here. You really can't shoot the puck. The other thing that I do like about the Brian's design, I don't wear Brian's anymore. I wore it for many of years. There was a little controversy when I was selling the equipment. They wouldn't open me up, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go wear someone else's gear. But Brian still make great gloves, no doubt. They're one of the best industry in making the gloves. There's a lot of good manufacturers out there. Whatever fit is proper is what you should look at. Also, don't wear it because Marc-Andre Fleury wears it because it fits your body. And the blocker has an inside seam so you can lay it flat against your body. Also, it's bent at the bottom, so when you're paddling down on the ice, your hand's still in a comfortable position. And then the last thing is the floating cuff, which is really important when you're making that save or you're shooting the puck. And then the blocker is very contoured now. Most of the new blockers like this only has Kevlar foam in it, and I wish I had time to bring a piece of it, but all it is a black Kevlar foam. They use no plastic in blockers. The only blocker plastic now is in the fingers and in the thumb now. The reason why they still put plastic in the thumb so you don't hyperextend or break your thumb when you're going down to the ice. My favorite piece of my equipment, besides my stick, is obviously the goalie glove. They make a lot of different goalie gloves now. They have what's called a 2-break. Then they have one glove, it's a no-break, which is solid. Then they have a U-shaped curve and a V curve. Okay? Then they have a T-web. Then they have a dual web. And then Vaughn makes a triple web now. For the money, I think Brian's makes the best gloves in the world. They always had the guy Ben Ward who designs all their gear, and you see all the logos on it. My son's a humongous Notre Dame fan and Penguin fan. Forget about the Penguins, but Notre Dame I can live with. So he had shamrocks put all over his gear. Pretty unique, different. Kind of gives you that shooters, that illusion that they look at your gear and they're like, wow. The name of Brian's equipment on the glove I like very much so. This glove is called the Thief. That's where you see the eyes. Okay? And when you're making a glove save, most of the forwards say what? He thieved it. Okay? Now, the glove is very unique. Again, the cuff on it. Got to be 8. The glove circumference used to be 305. I don't have a pie pan to measure it. It's 280 now, the circumference of the glove. If it's over that, you can't use it. The reason why a lot of goalies are getting hurt is because their gear is shrinking. And the reason why they're breaking fingers in the glove is in the old day, this glove was a lot wider. Okay? And the reason was it was wider, not so much to take up more net, even though that's what the NHL thinks, and that's what they want to think. But see how close my fingers are together? That means that when my fingers touch in the glove, that means I have a greater chance of breaking my fingers on a hard shot. That's why a lot of goalies now, to be honest with you, can't catch a puck because they have to have so much padding in their gloves to protect their fingers. All the gloves nowadays have all these straps on it so you can adjust it. You got 1 here, 2 here on the back of your hand, plus a wrist strap. So when you're throwing up that glove, it stays on your hand. The other reason I like the Brian's gloves is you see how flat that closes? Okay? Mike Smith shoots left-handed. He plays goal. So when he's laying his stick into his glove, see how much easier it is to handle that puck when your glove's like this? Some of the guys do it this way, which I don't understand why you would do it this way, because when you give up that bad pass out of your zone because you can't get strength on it, guess where your hand is? Your hand's up here, your glove's here. Guess where they're going to shoot the puck? Right here. By the time you go like this to this, the puck's already by the net. So that's why I believe goalies should shoot left-handed if they're right-handed or regular goalies, and this is how you should hold your stick. And all the great guys that can handle the puck, this is how they shoot, not like this. Sorry to inform you guys. Okay, the only trick an NHL official can do if he needs to measure the glove real quick, and this is another trick, okay, from tip to heel got to be 12 inches. That's the only measurement you can do without having the pie pan glove that they usually keep in the locker room, okay? And again, 8 inches on the cuff, okay? And then if you want to get really fancy, it's 13 and a half. And that's how you get all that math equation, but I'm not no mathologist. The other nice thing about the catching gloves, okay, see how it's flat. That's so you can pick up the puck and cover the puck, which is very important. The other thing is this glove has a lot of plastic in it. You have a piece in the thumb and you have a piece in the palm. And then it's a break down here so you can close it. Then you have another hard piece of plastic, usually in the cuff. Again, Brian's used Kevlar foam to cut down the glove. Then you have a palm protector here that goes inside the glove. It's like a sweatband, kind of hard to see. Wiggling it for you. You have also a floating cuff, so when you put the glove flat down on the ice, and that is the catching glove. That's part 2 in our goalie section for the hockey equipment. Until then, we'll see you for part 3. Have a good night.
Another exciting segment. We will wrap up the segment on goaltenders on our very next show. Bob, great job on doing that. And I keep telling you all the time that if you have any questions for hockey equipment and hockey stuff, this is the guy to talk to. And that's one of the main reasons why we have the sponsor on the show that we do, Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports, the only Play It Again left in Western PA. Yeah. Hopefully, Thanksgiving came and gone. Hopefully you were out at our store for Black Friday, all the specials, all this great savings. If not, you missed it.
Still got a few more weeks.
Still got a couple more weeks to fill up that stocking.
Couple more weeks.
But Play It Again has everything from summer to winter sports, snowboards, skis, hockey equipment, softball bats, baseball equipment.
Plus you get to talk to Bob.
Golf. Plus you get to talk to me.
How can you go wrong?
What better way you can come up, talk to me, buy a couple Christmas presents, check some people off your list. Again, Play It Again Sports, Greensburg, Pennsylvania. 724-834-1121.
There you go. Let's get ready to wrap this show up, and we want to do that first by, since this has been pretty much a goaltender-dominated show, let's talk about the top goalies.
Top 10 goalie list. Not as I see it, but as the NHL writers see it.
Okay.
Number 1, Bob Nelson. No, I'm just kidding. Jonathan Quick. Probably will be the number 1 goalie for Team USA, I would say. Number 2, Henry Lundqvist.
Right.
Probably be the
Black Friday goalie.
Number 3,
Tuukka
Rask. Probably be the starting Finnish goalie in the Olympics.
Probably.
Number 4, maybe not though, Pekka Rinne. Number 5, Craig Wera M.I. Anderson. He had a concussion. I don't know if you saw the need of his mask.
Yeah.
The last thing that came out of his mouth is, I can't feel my legs.
Yeah.
Number 6, Anta Niemi.
Niemi. Sharks.
Number 7, Corey Crawford. All that kid does is win Stanley Cups, and everyone puts the poor guy down.
Yep.
First round, I couldn't stop a puck through my 5-hole. Second round, I couldn't stop anything on my blocker side. Stanley Cup final, I couldn't catch anything. Oh, there's the cup again over my head. Number 7, which I think he should be a lot higher because he did come off of a Vezina Trophy winning season. Sergei Bobrovsky.
He's number 8.
He's number 8.
Right.
Okay. Number 9, Carey Price.
Yeah.
And number 10, what marijuana were they smoking for this? Roberto Luongo? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
So I take it if you were making the list, Luongo's not on there?
Roberto would not be on there, and I don't think
Who else wouldn't be on there?
Antoniemi
Wouldn't be on there?
Nope, he wouldn't be on there.
What the Sharks are doing this year? You
Nope.
wouldn't have him on
And
there?
I don't think I like Craig Anderson, but I don't think Craig Anderson would be on there. I would say number 10.
Who would you put on there?
Martin Brodeur.
Okay.
Okay.
Shaky start to the season, though.
I don't care. He's
Okay.
Brodeur. He's 16 on the list.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Who else would make your top 10?
Oh, I think another American-born goalie,
Mike.
Howard.
Jimmy Howard.
Think Howard should be upper,
Okay.
tighter.
Okay.
So that's 2 guys out, 2 guys in.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know deep down if I can honestly sit there and say to you that I don't think Holovic shouldn't be on that list either. I think he should be top 10 guy, the kid in St. Louis.
Oh, Halak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why ain't he on that list? You know where they have him ranked at? 21st.
He's not French Canadian, is he?
No.
There you go.
I mean, and here's the list real quick wrap up. They have Howard 11, Smith 12, Schneider 13, Miller 15.
So they put Schneider ahead of Brodeur.
Correct.
Wow.
Backstrom's 14.
And Backstrom's missed a lot of games.
Yeah. The Pittsburgh kid,
Yeah.
Fleury, he's 17.
Yeah.
Thomas is 24. He's single-handedly kept the Florida Panthers goaltending average down. Valamov's 23 on a first-place team.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they seeing here?
I don't know. But I tell you what you can see. You can see hockey news like you're not going to get in the hockey news and what's that other TR thing or something.
TSN.
Yeah, you really want to find some good hockey news. You need to be on In the Crease Facebook page. Dave's going to run up the URL for you here. And remember, every time you interact with the page, we write your name down, we throw it into the goalie helmet, and we pull out an award. You know what we did, and this is very remiss of us. I left all the names on our slip of paper, and I left it at home. So we didn't bring it in. We didn't pull out a name. Watch the Facebook page, and I will post the winner of this episode on the Facebook page, and you can, we'll tell you which prizes, and you can claim your prize. Sorry about that, but sometimes these things happen.
Too full from the turkey. Just
I think that might have been in. I think
brain
it was
freeze.
a little bit too much from the wine that went with the turkey. That kind of made me forget that. In any event, that's going to wrap up this edition of In the Crease. Thanks for being with us. Thanks again to John and Dave over in the control room. As always, thanks to Bob for stopping by. On the next show, we'll wrap up our talk about goalies and continue to give you hockey news and opinions that you're simply not going to find anywhere else. So on behalf of the cast and crew, I'm Fiore, and remember, when it comes to hockey, if you are in the game, then you're in the crease.